definitely a need that a lot of our team and our volunteers were asking for. So it's really nourishing for us to get to be with you in this way too. So we're going to give a minute and let folks load in. I'm going to let people know a couple times we have closed captioning tonight. So if that is a need, please check it out. You'll see on your Zoom, the bottom right, directly to the left of the leave button is closed captioning. So just click that and you should be good. Just want to be welcoming folks. We're going to take a couple minutes to load in all of the participants to make sure that everybody's able to get on. We had almost 2,000 people RSVP for tonight. So it's going to take us a couple minutes. So we're just going to allow a little bit of time for that. And as people are starting to come into the conversation, and some of you all have done these before with us, so you're already saying name and place. And if you would please add in a word about how you're feeling tonight. We're going to do our best to leave the chat on. Sometimes we have trolls, so then we turn it off, but we're going to do our best to leave it on. So your name, where you're Zooming or calling in from tonight, and a word or so about how you're feeling. Just even though there's a lot of us, it makes us feel a little bit more together in the space. And we're really glad you're here tonight. We're really happy to be with you. Yeah, definitely want to see. And we're seeing folks are from literally all over coming in. And for those who are just joining, we have about 2,000 people RSVP'd for tonight. So we're going to just give a few minutes and give people a chance to load into the Zoom. Yeah. Yep. We're seeing folks from literally all over. Too quick to know. Yep. A note from our team about tonight, we're going to do our very best to keep the chat on. If you need closed captioning, it is in the bottom right hand. Just click that button and you should be good to go. We have it available. Sometimes I have a bad habit of talking a little too fast for our closed captioners. So just want to invite my friends Rinku and Mickey and myself to consider that as we're speaking tonight. If you're going to be chatting, please remember to select all panelists and attendees so that everybody can see in the chat. And again, we're hoping to keep it open. We'll close it if we have to. And if you're just joining us, we're inviting you to put your name, where you're Zooming or calling in from tonight, and one word about how you're feeling. We're also going to be streaming this live on Facebook. So if you have folks that can't join right now or you want to share it later, please do. We know that many organizations, but we know for our own, we still have Women's March volunteers and people in our base who are still texting, still calling. So many of you said that you want to be here tonight. Some of you couldn't be. So we're going to be sharing this. Please share it with anyone you think it would be helpful for. Of course, Zoom has a cap, and so that's why we share it over Facebook as well, so that we make sure that this conversation gets to whoever needs it tonight. We know there's a whole lot going on, so we want to make sure that we're sharing this with whoever wants to be part of it. So we're going to go ahead and get started in the next minute or so. We have about an hour to have this conversation, and we're really happy that you're joining us. If you're just coming in, name, where you're coming in from tonight, and a word about how you're feeling. Obviously, there's so many folks in the chat that it's hard to read all of it, but we still like to see it. We still like to hear about it, and we're going to talk a little bit more about our time tonight. Just one more time, if you need closed captioning, bottom right, and we're happy to offer that. Yep. Okay, great. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started and let folks just join us as they come in. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to use our time for, and then I'm going to let my friends who were fantastic enough to join us tonight introduce themselves a little bit. But we're really happy that you're here with us tonight. So just a little bit, for those of us coming in, we're putting name, place, and a word about how you're doing in the chat. Just a little bit about what we're going to use our time for. We're going to keep it pretty short and sweet tonight, but we're really happy that you're here with us. We have our wonderful board co-president Rinku Sen here to do some acknowledgement around the times, and our comrade and leader in the movement, Mickey Scott Bay Jones, to do a grounding with us. I'm going to talk a little bit about feminist leadership and what time we believe it is as Women's March on the clock of the universe, as Grace Lee Boggs would say, who's a great writer and thinker. Look her up if you don't know her work. And then we're going to have, for those who know Starhawk's work, she sent a video tonight. She comes out of both the spiritual tradition of neo-pagan work. She's also a longtime feminist activist. She just recorded a little 5-minute video that's about grounding. It's not religious or denominational in any way, but it's just a grounding video that she's used to help people training when they're going into hard situations. And then Rinku's gonna close us out and send us out with a special closing tonight. So like I said, we're gonna keep it pretty short and sweet, but we're really happy that you're with us tonight. So a couple things in addition to just the tech. We're going to keep the chat open if we can. If you have questions, feel free to use the Q&A. Our team will get to them as best that they can. Closed captioning on the bottom right. We are streaming live from Facebook for those who missed that before. So if you want to take a minute and invite a loved one to join, send a text or share the stream, please do so. If you want to do that later on, please do so. Our team let us know that there was a lot of interest in tonight. A lot of folks who are busy couldn't be with us right now, but wanted it to share later. And just to foreshadow a little bit, you'll need a piece of paper and a writing utensil. For the end of our time, if you so desire, we're just going to have a little piece where we're going to have folks write a little bit down. And I want to say a really genuine and heartfelt thank you. And I'm pretty tired, so I feel pretty emotional about it, to our whole team at Women's March, our staff, our board, for all of this hard work, but most importantly to y'all. So many people on this call. You have texted so many folks. We're going to talk a little bit about how dazzling the numbers are, but the unbelievable amount of work that we've done with a very sturdy but not that large budget for our electoral work this season. And we just couldn't be more proud and incredibly happy with all of the work that y'all have done. So just want to really appreciate that. Want to particularly shout out our staff team who've been really running on fumes, but the passion is real. And I want to thank Emily Simons, especially. I know you're out there for these beautiful slides that we have tonight, which are just a few of the beautiful offerings that Emily always makes us. If y'all follow us on socials, you'll recognize that Emily Simons kind of signature on a lot of our work. So incredibly powerful. So I want to stop there and welcome my comrade Rinku Sen, our board co-president, to share a little bit about Women's March in the context of the times and a little bit more about the stuff I was speaking to.
Thanks so much, Caitlin, and hi to everybody. It does my heart so much good to see all of you in the chat, to see the places that you're coming from, to see how hard you've been working, and everything that you are feeling, I am also feeling. At Women's March these days, we are super focused on raising the power of women. Just, we all have it. We have it innately inside us. Not one of us needs to be empowered because we have our own power. The trick is to collect up all that power and get it moving in the same direction. And Women's March has been doing that through public education, through these kinds of joint activities where we can do GOTV together or take some other kind of action together. And of course, through actual marching. So I really want to encourage you to check out our Feminist Futures program and webinars, to check out our social media feeds and all of the information that's embedded in those. And just to hold each other as we hold you, as we hold ourselves at Women's March, the board and staff all together, hold each other in your minds and in your memory, in your bodies, because that will let you know, that will remind you that you're not alone. Not one of us is alone. There are millions of people behind us who are the wind at our sails. So we're very, very proud at Women's March to be able to provide a platform and a space, especially for women who are new to activism, new to taking action, new to collective social justice fights. This is how we win things, by figuring out what's wrong, by getting with our neighbors nationally, as well as our neighbors down the block, and by trusting in the power and courage of women to get the job done, whatever the job is. We have a huge job in front of us right now, but we're going to get it done like we always do. And I really want to lift up the folks in the chat who noted that whatever comes, because not one of us can predict what is going to come, but whatever comes, we are going to handle it together. And that includes victory as well as anything else that might be coming our way. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Rinku. So we're gonna move on to Mickey in just a minute here. Just want to share, for those of you that we want to lift up tonight, stats are great, but they only represent, the actual work of people. And this organization, powered by many, many of you, have actually, on October 17th, ran more than 430 distributed actions in every state to actually be really holding up the power of women in this election and our ability to decide our future and where we're moving. And also, more than 25,000 volunteers have made more than 12 million texts from women texting directly to women voters in key states. So I just want to that literally is the work of people in the space, and just want to hold up that incredible work and how hard everyone's been working on the ground. So I want to pass the mic here to my comrade and friend Mickey, and just name that of all of the tools that we've used at Women's March, the tool that really we got from Mickey's inspiration and work is the tool around Brave Space. And my team and our team has told us that that's just one of the most valuable things that we've been able to share with people. And we're really happy anytime you're here with us, Mickey, to share with us and help share wisdom with our base.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Breedlove. I'm so glad to be here with y'all tonight. And as I got on before, as we were preparing, I still had my apron on because I was making dinner for my family, and have been working even in this weekend to do my work around healing and resilience building in our movements. So I'm right there with y'all, juggling our family responsibilities and our community responsibilities, and doing our parts in the movements that we're a part of, and also trying to help people be engaged in this election. So just first of all, wanted to let you all know that we're in this together. So, and I just also wanted to say that whatever you're doing, I can't see you. So you might be wrangling a toddler right now, might be helping with homework, still in your pajamas all day, and that's okay. You're listening, and whether you're listening on Facebook or here in the Zoom, and I'm just glad that you're here with us. So I want to invite you to take a moment to breathe, to set down those other tasks that need to be done. The kids can have a snack if you haven't gotten, real food in them, or you can have a snack, have a glass of water, um, take a deep breath and unclench that jaw if you've been clenching it all day. Um, and just, I invite you to sit with me for a minute and let's have a little talk. So most of you that are on this call have probably heard the song, This Little Light of Mine. Most of us learn it in preschool or kindergarten or from a grandparent or Sunday school or some other way growing up. But even though we often learn it as a kid now, it's not just a children's song. This song is actually a powerful movement song, and it became a song in the Southern Freedom Movement, which many of us know as the Civil Rights Movement, but my mentor and elder, Ruby Sales, has taught me to call it the Southern Freedom Movement. And it became a staple of that movement because of a woman named Fannie Lou Hamer. And if you've been around the Women's March or feminist or womanist organizing for a while, you've probably heard about Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. If you haven't, between now and Election Day, I would really encourage you to get on, ye old Google or YouTube and spend some time with her. On Spotify, you can actually find an album full of her singing and full of her speaking, and it's incredible. At at a time when we're facing clear, exposed voter suppression, when our faith in electoral politics has been shaken, when it seems that the powers at be are doing everything possible to keep those with the rights of citizenship and participating in democracy from doing so, it's important to call upon our feminist movement ancestors who can guide us, whose footprints were left behind for us to discover and walk in, whose wisdom and words, and if you want to get a little woo-woo about it, that's what I do, that's my thing, their spirit has been left for us to root down into, so that we can do the work of this generation, of our generation, the work in front of us to do. And there are many people that can guide us, right? You may have other people that you think of as I start to bring up Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. You may have a direct relative who marched for voting rights, or who has done, work in the county your family still lives in, or other folks that you deeply, deeply resonate with, who have been on this journey. But I pretty continuously meditate on Fannie Lou Hamer. She is one of my mental mentors. And often the way we talk about people from the past is in very one-dimensional frames, right? But I try to remind myself that Fannie Lou Hamer was a wife who deeply loved and adored her husband. She was a mother, a sister, a grandmother, an active member of her community in Ruleville, Mississippi, a woman who had worked the land as a sharecropper with her family. She was a church member who became a community organizer, a song leader, a powerful speaker, a voter, a marcher, a woman who ran for office, a survivor of state and vigilante white violence, a survivor of unwanted gynecological surgery, like the women we've come to find out about in Georgia detention centers, being sterilized by our government. And she was a brave freedom fighter that was a powerful national force, who also remained connected to and dedicated to fighting for justice in her own community every step of the way. So Fannie Lou Hamer's life gives us so many gifts, so many lessons. I am still really discovering them. I feel like I could study her for the rest of my life. She stayed the course. She was involved locally and nationally, and she also, taught us about how we work our body. Her body suffered from how much she gave to the movement. There were people that took advantage of her. But today, I want to just pick one tiny moment of her life to learn from. And, as I am completely prepared, I left my book over on my other seat, so I'm going to get it real quick. Okay, y'all. It's the reality of these things, right? So I just want to share this one little thing from Fannie Lou Hamer's life. So this was after this long fight to change politics in Mississippi that and the entire country. And by the end of that, it wasn't a complete victory. But the newspapers, right, the reporters came to her and asked her for her opinion. And it says when the press caught up with Miss Hamer to ask her opinion, before she could finish speaking, she broke down in tears. She asked, "What kind of country is it that is afraid to let the people know the truth? Why is the white man so afraid to let the people know?" She went on, "I'm not crying for myself today, but I'm crying for America. I cry that the Constitution of the United States written down on paper applies only to white people. But we will come back year after year until we are allowed our rights as citizens." She pledged to continue to run for office if there was anything left to run for. And then later that night, she repeated, "It ain't over yet. We're coming back here again and again and again." So what did she do? She cried. She talked plainly about what she saw that was making her cry. She kept reminding others of the United States, the Constitution, and that we have an obligation to live up to the words written in the Constitution. And she said, "We will come back year after year. It ain't over yet. We're coming back again and again and again." So this week, we are coming back again. We are fighting for whatever justice we can get in this election, in our cities, our towns, our nation, whatever happens on Tuesday, we will do what we need to do. If it's cry, we'll cry. We will continue to speak the truth and call this country to live up to the ideals that its politicians have said it's supposed to do. And we will then rest, and we will hold each other, and we will support each other, and we will come back again and again and again. We will show up Tuesday. You and I, all of us on this call, we will show up for Tuesday. And we will then come back again and again and again. So as we find the strength to keep coming back again and again and again and showing up for each other, for this nation, we are going to remember to be brave together. And so if you've been organizing with the Women's March, or maybe you've seen it somewhere else, you've heard my poem, An Invitation to Brave Space, and I'm going to read it now. And just invite you to take it in for yourself and hold it over this next week. Together, we will create brave space. Because there is no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. this space, this country won't be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together. And we will work on it side by side. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you so much for that, Mickey. It's always great to hear, and it's particularly sitting with me tonight. And I can see how much appreciation there is in the chat for both you and Rinku's comments. So I want to talk a little bit. We're going to also hear a grounding video that Starhawk sent, and we're going to have Rinku do a closing. But I want to talk a little bit more about sort of the political questions, some of your questions in the chat, and also some of the conversations that so many people involved with Women's March have had this week about the next step in our plans. We want you all to know that we take really seriously the trust that you place in even being part of this organization. We're here to harness your power. We exist actually really because of the marchers. And so we've been in a lot of conversations with other progressive organizations. We've been studying and looking at numbers, and we've also been listening to all of the things that you all have brought up. So, you know, one thing that we want you to know is that whether it's a contested election or a declared victory for Biden-Harris or anything else that comes down the pike, and we saw many chats about this in the chat as well, we're preparing ourselves to work in our local communities, our country, and our world to advance our agenda of a feminist, multiracial future where we can all flourish. We know that women are the caregivers and the change makers in all of the different kinds of ways. And we know that women will decide this election. We are seeing that. It's so powerful. And we know that women have been on the front lines of challenging this administration day after day after day for 4 years. And, you know, we are really clear that given everything we're facing in the world today, we need to continue to play a decisive role in leading our country forward and setting a new feminist agenda. And by agenda, we just mean vision and game plan for the world that we're not here about making alone, but we're knitting together into a huge net. And we know that that agenda has to work to ensure we can all lead healthy, happy, fulfilled, useful lives with good jobs and access to healthcare, vibrant public education, good housing, community public safety systems that work for everyone in nonviolent ways, and a sustainable planet. And, you know, one of the things we've said a lot in Women's March is that we've seen how everyone, but particularly women, because that's who we're working on behalf of, are being hit by multiple pandemics right now in this season. It's COVID, it's climate crisis, it's job and economic crisis, it's a crisis of police brutality. We know how much we've been drained. Like many of you, you know, we've been at home with our young children or our elderly family members or people in our community and our neighbors or aunties or folks with disabilities, that just nobody actually is coming to help us with the crisis of care that we're in. And yet we're continuing, and sometimes we don't even know how, we don't even know where we're getting that strength. And so we're committed as Women's March that whether it's as a feminist resistance organization or as a feminist future building organization, or really honestly some of both, that we're going to continue to be here for the power of everyday women across race, place, and experience that we're seeing now, to be your partner and not walk, you know, above you or talk at you, but walk with you, talk with you, and be with you in the struggle that lies ahead of us. And we don't know exactly how that's going to look. It could go a lot of different ways this week. So we really think that, I would say that as somebody who had been doing organizing, not nearly as long as Rinku, but for, it feels like since as long as I've been a grown up at least, that, you know, Women's March won my heart and brought me back, not only because of this great team, but I just think that seen a moment where it's so clear that we have the ability to shift our history, not elites who are controlling our destiny, not a few people who felt that they could decide for all of us, right? Whether it's about our bodies, our communities, our safety, and our work, but really we've been the ones here doing that. And so I think in addition to the incredible accomplishments that really you all have accomplished from our texting and our voting program, near and dear to my heart is also our more than 340 organizing circles that are women to women organizing circles in local communities that are standing ready and willing to take responsibility in their local communities for bringing forward that feminist future. And that's been an incredibly exciting part of what we're doing as well. So this is not this is a place of grounding. And if you're interested in talking more about some of the new feminist organizing schools and new trainings and growth we're going to be doing, a lot of that's going to pivot based on what happens this week, but we will be here, and we will be making the containers, and we will be trying to figure out the best way alongside with you to fully equip and support and advance the work in the hundreds of communities that we have the honor and privilege of being chosen by to get to work alongside. So, just a little more, we know that many of you have asked, what are we going to do? What are we going to do day of? What are we going to do election night? What are we going to do after? I know there's a lot of conversation in the press and progressive groups talking about it. So one thing we will tell you is that we are in a pretty collaborative and offering or invitational way. There are folks involved with Women's March who are going to be doing some gatherings, either at their own little, spaces in their homes, on a street corner, in a place, COVID safe, as the polls close in each state. So we'll shine a light on the process by gathering in person with lanterns, flashlights, lighted signs, or candles at our homes or on street corners, like I said. And all these events will be designed to maximize COVID safety, with all participants agreeing to wear masks and position themselves 6 feet away. And, this is like really, this is really our space for folks who are feeling like, I need to do something, but I don't want to do something that feels premature. If there's any premature announcement of a winner, we're challenging that, and we're asking those who are part of Women's March and support the work to say, let's hold on and actually really not support Trump in any fake news or any agitation towards chaos in this moment. That's actually what we're trying not to do. We really want to hold steady. One of the things we've said a lot is there's a marathon power of women. It's not a sprint. The last 4 years have not been a sprint. And so many of you have had the courage to do things you've never done before. Some people don't know 70% of those involved with Women's March are brand new to activism, mostly women, brand new to activism. And so we're saying, like, let's continue that humility and that marathon feminism or women's activism approach, and we're going to hold steady. And we are going to hold those in power accountable, but we're going to do it in a very steady way. And then we are going to be working with other women-led groups in our We Demand More coalition. That's the same groups that we worked with on October 17th to mobilize around women and voting, and demanding the feminist future we need. And we're planning, we're putting a placeholder in for November 13th around the question of, depending on what happens, what is needed from women in this country. And so we're gonna be, check out our email that's upcoming about that. Obviously, that's gonna look really different depending on the outcome. If we're dealing with contested election, if we're dealing with these difficult situations, we're going to be here to stay in the fight. And if we are hopefully ushering in a new administration, we want that administration to know that we are going to keep continuing to be here to fight for the feminist future that we all need, and that we are not going to abandon particularly all of the people and women in particular that have come in to the work of social change in the last 4 years. We're going to be here pushing the agenda that folks are asking for and needing. So a little bit about that. let's go back to grounding ourselves, but we wanted to make sure we did provide some answers, the answers that, that we have right now. To be transparent, it's going to be a big moment, and we're preparing for different scenarios, as we know everyone is in their home in a lot of different ways. So we don't want to, give you no information, and we also, don't want to say things and then we don't know exactly what's going to happen, which is why we're all here. So those of you who know Starhawk's work, she sent us a video where it's about 5 to 6 minutes. It's a grounding video, so we're going to sit and be with that now. And for those interested in knowing more about Starhawk's work, she's easy to Google. So team, we're ready for the video. Hold on a sec. We're having we see her video, but we can't hear her yet. So we kind of, with the Zoom this big, there's always a little bit of technical stuff, no matter if you run it before. Sometimes it's a little difficult. So we're going to take another minute and try to figure it out. If we can't, we'll send it to you, so you'll still have the gem, because she definitely wanted you all to see that. And clearly it's there, but we're just having a little bit of a problem with the sound. I appreciate all the no stress messages in there. And also, as a non-tech person, all the suggestions, because sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't actually know where the button is on that. But I think in this case, it's just that we're running this format that she sent in the video for the first time. So let's see. We'll give it another minute, team, and then if we can't pull it out, we will send it to you as a special present in a follow-up email for sure. Okay, well, she's there. She's talking slowly, but what do y'all think, team? Should we call it and go on to Rinku?
Yeah, this is Kate. I think that we tested it earlier and it worked. So let's just commit to sending it out to folks as an extra present in the follow-up. If not tonight, then tomorrow. So you'll have another gift from Starhawks. So just consider this the gift that keeps on giving.
Totally. And I listened to it earlier to preview it, and I actually went through the grounding, and it was super helpful to me. So it might be a nice little thing to find in your inbox tomorrow, because I actually went through the exercise and it was super helpful. It might just be the size of the Zoom, y'all. And we also talked about sharing it on Women's March social media platforms tonight. So we could also see if we could just share it on our Facebook and Instagram. Thanks so much for your patience, y'all. Rinku, I am going to hand it to you, but since you are going to be closing us out, just a couple other quick things that I want to add, because I don't actually want our closeout to actually be our closeout. There's going to be a follow-up email that will have this gem from Starhawk. It will also have some great links that Mickey and some other folks in our team dropped in. I just want to thank our team again, and Emily Simons in particular. And yeah, this recording will be on Facebook, so you can also share it as helpful there. Yeah, and we're really, really glad that you're with us tonight, and we're here with you through this election, no matter what happens. So Rinku, I want to hand it to you.
Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Breedlove. I have to get used to calling you Breedlove instead of Caitlin.
You can call me either one, Rinker, no
Thank you,
problem.
I appreciate that. So listen, friends, I think that this is this fight that we're in for the soul of our country, for the soul of our communities, for our families, for ourselves. This fight that we're in, it's not a marathon or a sprint. I think it's a relay race. And among the things that should give us hope and optimism, they certainly give it to me, is the fact that we've recruited millions of new racers over the last 4 years and thousands just this year. We are in a period where the body politic has completely changed in this country. It's transformed in part because of our work and the work of so many wonderful allies and sister organizations around the country. So in a relay, you don't have to run the whole thing. You can pass the baton. And the most important thing is that there's someone there to take the baton when you're ready to pass it. We don't need to be afraid. We are so strong. We're so much stronger than we were 4 years ago. I have never experienced so many of my friends and family members and random people on the street talking about the Electoral College, about how they can elect DAs and dog catchers and, you know, city council people and school board members, how they could be those people, not just elect those people. There's a wonderful Audre Lorde quote where the writer Audre Lorde, she wrote, "Afraid is a country with no exit visas. There's nowhere to go from afraid." So even when we're feeling afraid, which I feel it too, I'm a little nervous, but I try to remember it's 2020, it's not 2016. The body politic has been transformed in this country. Young people are voting at record rates never before seen. And so we've recruited millions of new baton catchers over the last few years, and they got us and we got them. Together, we are going to win this thing. There actually isn't really much of a doubt in my mind, because hope is a country that you can live in and change, and justice, that makes a place that we can live in, that we can thrive in, and we can completely get there. I don't know about you, but I cannot wait to protest a Biden White House. I hope that's coming up really, really soon, because that's where I come from, and that's where I know I'm going back to, the willingness to challenge anybody who doesn't want to do the right thing by women and by our families and by our communities. So, okay, that's really everything I wanted to say in this closing, but I'm gonna really close us with a chant from my friend Shoyanka Rahim, who is a grassroots spiritual practitioner. She gave herself 3 letters next to her name because other people have them, like MA and PhD and BA and JD. So she just gave herself GSP, the Grassroots Spiritual Practitioner. Some of you have seen her in the chat on these calls before. So this is the chat. I mean, this is the chant, not the chat, the chant. And I am going to talk us through it and then lead us through it. All right. So the chant goes, I decided. So it goes like this. I decided for myself. I decided for myself. I decided for myself to live, to learn, to teach, to be, vote. Okay? And then the next part 2, goes like this. I see the good. I hear the good. I speak the good. I am the good. Vote. All right. So I think Kate has put it all into the chat, and we're not going to be able to hear each other, but we are trusting because we trust each other. We know we got us. So I'm trusting that everybody's going to do this chant with me right now. And we're going to go in 1, 2, 3. I decided for myself. I decided for myself. I decided for myself to live, to learn, to teach, to be. Vote. I see the good. I hear the good. I speak the good. I am the good. Vote. And again, we'll just do the first part again. I decided for myself. I decided for myself. I decided for myself to live, to learn, to teach, to be. Vote. Thank you all so much. Feeling the love.
Wonderful, y'all. Well, it's been so wonderful to get to be with you. Thank you so much to Mickey and to Rinku and our whole team. And thank you most of all to y'all at home. We're gonna send the Star Hug video. We're gonna send some other tools, but mostly, you know, just really listening and thinking about everything Rinku said. We're not alone. None of us are alone. We're here together. We're a force. And we're going to continue to be with you as an organization. We're sending you so much nourishment, courage, anything that you need tonight. And so we're really hoping that you all go forward. I know I'm feeling filled up just being here with all of you, and thank you again for being with us. We'll be here together. Take the best care. Thank you. Good night, y'all.